Welcome to the special broadcast on the parliamentary elections on DD India, the great Indian election. This is the ultimate election year as globally more voters than ever in the history will head to the polls. On the show today, we take a look at why Chhattisgarh matters in the 2024 elections. Well, Chhattisgarh in central India was formed out of Madhya Pradesh to become India's 26th state. It is also known as the Rice Bowl of India. The Hindi heartland is India's 10th largest state and a major producer of energy and steel. Let us understand why Chhattisgarh matters as India decides in 2024.
Chhattisgarh, the landlocked state in central India, is known for its lush green stretches of forest covers, breathtaking natural beauty, diverse tribal heritage and rich mineral deposits. Home to people from 42 different tribes, the cultural life of Chhattisgarh comprises varied forms of traditional art and crafts. Tribal dances, folk songs, regional festivals and fairs and amusing cultural fests. In fact, Chhattisgarh's Dhokra art, inspired by tribal themes of animals, mythical creatures, human creatures, natural shapes, etc., is now quite popular beyond the borders of India. Spreads over 135,000 square kilometers, the state is also known as the Bowl of Rice, as the region grows over 20,000 varieties of rice. Chhattisgarh shares its borders with 7 Indian states. Originally a part of Madhya Pradesh, it was carved out and granted statehood on November 1, 2000, with Raipur as its designated state capital. With 11 seats in the Lok Sabha or the lower house of the Indian Parliament, Chhattisgarh is going to the general elections in 3 phases between April 19th to May 7th. The state's 20.5 million registered voters are ready to exercise their electoral duty. Out of the total number of voters, 10.1 million are male, while about 10.3 million are female. About 732 voters are from the third gender category. The state is currently governed by the Bharatiya Janata Party, which bagged a majority support in the state elections held in December 2023. The major parties in the state are the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Indian National Congress. The other political parties which have been contesting in the state as well as national elections here are the Janata Congress Chhattisgarh, Gondwana Ganatantra Party and the Bahujan Samaj Party. In the 2019 general elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party won 9 seats with a vote share of 51.40% and the Indian National Congress bagged 2 seats. In the backdrop of a dramatic comeback in recently held state elections by the BJP, all eyes are keenly looking forward to the general election contest when arch-rival Congress and BJP once again lock horns in a 2-party fight. Antara Sinha for DD India.
Well, another Hindi heartland is ready to go to the polls in the first 3 phases of elections. But an interesting battle here. It's another bipolar contest that you would see in this Hindi heartland or the Rice Bowl of India. That's Chhattisgarh. Let's quickly take a look at Chhattisgarh, how it goes to polls, which are the regions which come in phase 1, 2 and 3 in this particular election. Phase 1, there is just 1 seat, the seat of Bastar down here, that goes to the polls. Phase 2, you've got 3 seats. Phase 3, that's the phase in May. That's when the maximum number of seats from Chhattisgarh go to polls. A quick look at the numbers there. Phase 1, just 1 seat. Phase 2, you've got 3. Phase 3, maximum number 7 seats, which go to polls on the 7th of May. A quick look at numbers on how elections across the last 2 decades or across the last 1 decade, 2014 and 19, BJP managed to win 9. BJP went to 10. The Congress from 2 coming down to half. That's just 1 seat in another Hindi heartland state. Percentage-wise, much above the national average, 67% was what we noted in 2019. Chhattisgarh, irrespective of all that, all the trouble that it faced, has managed to stay above that national average of 71%, a similar margin, a similar voting pattern that you would see even in the assembly elections. The assembly elections, BJP from 15 in 2018, managed to wrestle back power from Bhupesh Baghel, winning 54 seats and getting a majority here to put another BJP government there in Chhattisgarh, along with Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh in the assembly elections. That's not all. The percentage, as we looked, about 70%, 76%, both in the assembly elections in 2018 as well as 2023. A quick look at that lone seat that goes to polls here in Chhattisgarh, that's Bastar. You've got Mahesh Kashyap, a new face, back in the election fray, this time contesting from Bastar, and you've got Kasawa Lakhma from the Congress and BSP completing the three-party race. But generally, Chhattisgarh, as we always have seen, is just a bipolar contest. It's between two national parties, the Congress and the BJP, that go neck to neck in this battle for glory, especially in Lok Sabha as well as in assembly elections. You know, there has been a false narrative that's been built time and again about the fairness of Indian elections. We've sent a team down to Bastar to get you the real story on how elections are held in a free and fair manner in India. Take a look.
We are here in Dantewada of Bastar, which goes to polls on April 19. Bastar is the highest Naxal-infested area in the country. Like previous elections, Naxals have issued posters, appeals and press statements asking the people to boycott the electoral process. Many of these posters have been cited in the last 2 weeks. But the common voters of Bastar, especially those residing in the most interior, inaccessible areas, are having none of it.
बिल्कुल डालेंगे नेता लोग धमका रहे हैं नेता की बात नहीं मानेंगे
डर तो नहीं है नहीं पक्का वोट डालोगे हाँ
नहीं हम वोट डालने जाएंगे किसी का खतरा नहीं है कोई डर नहीं है कुछ नहीं नक्सली नहीं कुछ नहीं
बहिष्कार करने दो लेकिन मैं जाऊंगा वोट डालने जाऊंगा
A massive crackdown against Naxals was initiated by the security forces in January this year. As per security data, more than 50 Naxals have been neutralized since January 2024. More than 200 have been nabbed. Not just that, around 200 odd Naxals have surrendered this year alone, and at least 167 of them have joined the state police.
कई माओवादी कैडर जो माओवादियों के एक असली चेहरा है जो हिंसात्मक और एक विकास विरोधी चेहरा है उसको देखकर जान लिया पहचान लिया उसके पश्चात हिंसा त्याग करके समाज के मुख्य धारा में शामिल होने के लिए उद्देश्य से आत्मसमर्पण भी किया इस प्रकार माओवादियों का भी काफी बैकफुट में है
While it is easy to denigrate India's democracy sitting in think tanks abroad, it is the resilience and commitment of the Indian voter which keeps the world's largest democracy alive and kicking.
Here, the men, women, all voters have made up their mind to defy not only geographical challenges but the threat to their lives because they believe in exercising their franchise. Perhaps those creating an anti-democracy narrative would like to come here and see things for themselves. In Dantewada, Chhattisgarh, with Somesh Patel, Smita Mishra.
Well, that's how a false narrative being built, and our correspondent there on the ground getting us the real picture. Three big questions that we look forward to answers from our guests joining us this evening. First, will insurgency and Naxalism, issues related to that, be at the forefront in this 2024 campaign? Second, empowerment versus entitlement battle. What will resonate with the people? Our final, has the opposition's challenge increased in the Hindi heartland? You know, three questions that we're looking for answers. Two eminent guests joining us this evening. We've got Praful Ketkar in the studios, always with us, helping us navigate through elections. Joining us once again, we've got R. Krishna Das, senior journalist, joining us from Raipur to take the deliberations forward. Let me first come to you, Praful. Today, a short while ago, heard the news about how Naxals have once again been neutralized, especially in Kanker region. Do you see this playing out, and with all the threat that Naxals had given and the story that we filed on people ready to go out and cast their vote, be a big difference?
Oh, absolutely. Chhattisgarh and common masses of Chhattisgarh, especially the tribal region, have shown defiance against the Maoist terror. And we have seen that consecutively in elections. And the remarkable part is, in the last 6 months, there is a campaign that is going on behalf of Chhattisgarh government and the Home Ministry at the center, where it is in a local language, but in English it is called homecoming. So there are many who were forced to join the Maoist cadre are actually coming back.
Okay.
And that is giving the confidence. We have seen that in the assembly election also, especially in Sarguja region. And I'm sure in this election also is going to be the above average voting percentage in Chhattisgarh. One interesting thing that I would like to highlight, Anil, about Chhattisgarh is, in Chhattisgarh, last, not this one, the earlier 2018 assembly elections, Congress had won 67 seats in assembly polls.
True.
When it comes to the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, BJP actually improved the tally to 10. And if we convert that into the assembly segments, it comes down to 66, 67.
True.
So, people who say, oh, these are, the tribal backward regions and they don't know. Boss, these same people have voted differently in assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections, and almost equal number of seats in opposite direction.
True.
So they know whom they are voting for at the assembly level and the Lok Sabha level. We should keep this in mind.
Okay, Mr. Krishnadas, this is that lone seat that the Congress managed to hold on to in 2019. How's the going there on the ground? You would have a better sense on how the two political parties are gearing up. And how do the people of Bastar, especially, we are 3 days away from the first phase of voting, how do you see this region and the political battle there heating up?
No, given the assembly election results, the BJP is optimistic it is going to break the trend right now. In the last Lok Sabha election, the Congress was in a position to retain that seat. But I think the assembly election has given trend, and that trend is now available in the public domain also. The sorry part, Anil, of Congress party is that they are yet to recover from the debacle that they have faced in the assembly election. So right now in Bastar, you see there is a clear case of groupism that is simmering in open in Bastar. So that Congress is going to face a little challenge from their internal groupism also. So that would be one of the factors that is going to affect the prospect of Congress in Bastar. As far as the voting pattern is concerned, the assembly election has once again, as I have told you, the assembly election has given a crystal clear mandate. People are now ready to participate in the process of democracy in a full-fledged way. And since the movement of security forces are also at high in most of the interior places also, Anil, if you can recall, we have now set up a camp. Security forces have their own movement in all these interior areas. So since the security blanket has been opened in interior areas, and people are now fearless, so that way they can come out and they will vote in a large number. So in that way, we are hopeful if the voting pattern increases in Bastar, naturally BJP will have an edge in this election.
Okay, Praful, when one sees the manifestos that all parties have realized, though there is an opposition bloc, but somewhere deep down, do you get the sense that the battle of manifestos, as I may say, on one end you have something that's talking about entitlements, to the other end you've got a manifesto or a Sankalp Patra that talks about empowerment, and that's a big difference that would play in the minds of the voters.
That is certainly one aspect, because people ultimately are going to judge not just on the basis of manifestos but also the track records. When it comes to the delivery of whatever you have promised, it looks like what Congress has promised is beyond the capacity to deliver. On the other hand, Prime Minister Modi, when he is talking about Modi ki guarantee, he is carrying the face and the track record of last 10 years. And when it comes to the tribal regions, one in terms of delivery, and two in terms of the future. Because 2025 BJP is talking about, having a mega celebration about this entire Janajati Gaurav thing, and that has caught up the imagination of common tribal people. When it comes to the delivery of houses, delivery of gas connections, and even the road connectivity. See, Chhattisgarh traditionally was kept out of all infrastructural development thanks to the Maoist violence and intervention. Now somehow BJP has won because of the approach, the cohesive approach to deal with this, not just as a simple law and order problem, but it is a massive security threat. And somehow BJP has been able to develop a narrative of Maoists being anti-tribal. Okay. And that is why we are seeing this, the support and the homecoming that I told you about, where there are many Maoists who are surrendering and coming back. So, and it has happened, of course, in the Sarguja region to a larger extent, Bastar region. He's absolutely right, Krishnaji. If we see anywhere around 70% voting percentage. See, traditionally, if you see whether 2014, 2009, or even 2019, Bastar and Korba, these two constituencies, Congress had somehow kept their voting percentage on hold. But at the same time, we should keep in mind that in relation to or comparison to the other constituencies, the voting percentage also goes down in these constituencies. Now, as you have seen, you have shown in the report, if the voters are fearless, if the security arrangements are in place, and today, as we have got the reports that after killing of 2 innocent tribals by the Maoists, 18 tribals or 29 tribals are neutralized by the security forces.
Naxals have been neutralized.
Maoists are neutralized by the security forces. Then it's a good sign. It means that the people will be confident about the security arrangements, and if the voting percentage somewhere touches around 68 to 70%, then we can see a turnaround even in Bastar.
Mr. Krishnadas, the infrastructure push that is being taken, on a very large scale, do you see it having, greater footprints amongst the people, amongst the voters of Chhattisgarh, especially in the tribal region?
Naturally, Anil, it's a major factor. Because you see, there were no roads, and because since the road connectivity was not in a good shape, so that affected most of the other development works, and also the social and welfare schemes could not reach or could not penetrate to the person standing last in the row. So that was a major factor, and now, Anil, you may be surprised, the interior areas of Bastar, the children's, they have never seen train. So now the movement of train has started in Bastar region. To some extent, this Rao Ghat and that area is now connected with railways. So a lot of development activities is taking place in Bastar region, and people are now welcoming it because they haven't seen what actually the development meant. So now they are acquainting with all these issues. So they are now in a position to judge what is good and what is bad. So they have been kept totally isolated from all these issues. So if some development is taking place, it's a big development because there was nothing in Bastar region. There was no road. There was not even a Murung roads, you can say. So in that way, if there is a small development taking place for the tribals, it's a big development. So that way, it is certainly going to help BJP because it's only the BJP that has brought some kind of development in Bastar region. So I think for the electoral prospect, BJP will be in a position to get a dividend out of it.
Okay. Mr. Ketkar, the opposition battle, another Hindi heartland that they lost in November along with Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. Do you somewhere get the sense that the opposition is in a desperate mood and does not know what to do, especially in the Hindi heartland?
All over there seems to be no clear-cut strategy, because they are talking about the one-to-one fight with BJP. But in this region, like for example, if you take case of Chhattisgarh, there is Gondwana Ganatantra Party or BSP, but they are so marginal, 2%, 3%, 4% of vote share. Now, what has happened? Like in case of Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel and his government face a lot of allegations related to corruption. There is one liquor scam that is, being investigated there as well. So within Congress, there is a strong opposition to Bhupesh Baghel himself, and that's why the factionalism that Krishnaji was talking about. On the other hand, BJP made a swift, kind of transition where Dr. Raman Singh is now settled as a speaker, and a new chief minister coming from Sarguja region, where he has swept all the 14 seats for BJP. And it looks very smooth transition, and he has taken the hold of the administration quickly. So there is a clear-cut messaging when it comes to delivery, and there I think it makes the real difference. And that is why in Hindi heartland, the kind of messaging that you are doing is ideologically very, very confusing. You will be coming to this region, you will be talking about soft Hindutva, you will be talking about temples. The moment you go to south, you will be talking about Hindi imposition and north-south divide. So what kind of messaging because this is Lok Sabha election, come on, this is not going to be just Tamil Nadu or the Karnataka or one state election. So whatever message you are conveying, it has to be a coherent message. There BJP has been consistent when it comes to leadership, when it comes to programs, and when it comes to the organizational machinery. Their opposition seems to be completely disjointed. Even they are talking about in Bengal, there are constituencies where it is not just TMC and BJP. Even the left and the Congress have separate candidates.
True.
Where is the opposition unit? So you are on the one hand talking about the India alliance, the opposition unity, but there is no one coherent strategy as far as the electoral battle is concerned. Where Congress is directly fighting with the BJP, there are around 250 seats, and most of them are in the Hindi heartland. There, I think other parties are in no position to contribute, and where the regional parties are dominant position, Congress is almost irrelevant in terms of contribution. So what kind of alliance that you are doing?
Okay.
That is the question for them.
Okay, let me just get Krishna Das quickly. Mr. Das, especially when it comes to contest between Congress and BJP, 2019, if you see the seats that have seen a direct contest between the two, BJP seems to be way ahead. Do you see this chasm that we've seen, it becoming wider and wider, 5 years later?
Naturally, you see, BJP right now is in a better position. And since I represent Chhattisgarh state, I would like to elaborate that Chhattisgarh is now a poster boy for the BJP as far as corruption is concerned. And Modi ji and entire BJP is now totally focusing on the issue of corruption. And Anil, you may be aware that in India, in the Indian history, you see corruption has always been a major election issue until and unless it has been marketed well.
Okay.
Right from A.R. Antulle to V.P. Singh, you see the Indian Watergate, most of the population was not aware what actually it meant. And Bofors, I can claim that not many could have spelled also what Bofors meant. So V.P. Singh very well marketed it, and in that way Congress has to face the consequences. So BJP has marketed the Chhattisgarh corruption cases also in a big way. And since there were elements that were supposed to come out easily, you see, it was deep neck corruption in Chhattisgarh, and there were subsequently ample evidences and the clear-cut evidences against the government, Congress government. So that way, I think BJP right now, they have picked up the issue that is going to give them a very big dividend.
Okay, rich dividends there in that Hindi heartland. The Great Indian Election is your one-stop show on weekdays, and all that matters in Indian elections 2024. What could be the state that could form a part of our deep dive on Wednesday night? Countdown to the first phase of voting has begun. We track the states from the west, central and south of India in phase 1 of voting and how they matter as India decides. Join us as we look at the star candidates, state and all that matter this election season on the Great Indian Election at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT, only on DD India. Well, the Election Commission of India's Main Bharat Hoon is a voter awareness song that encourages voters to participate in the mega exercise. Let's listen into this Chhattisgarhi version of the song.
ताकत है मुझ में, मैं भारत हूँ, भारत है मुझ में, मैं ताकत हूँ, ताकत है मुझ में। हम भारत के नतमस्तक हैं, हम योद्धा के दो हस्तक हैं, हम भारत भाग्य विधाता हैं, हम भारत के मतदाता हैं। मतदान मतदान देगा
was trying to squeeze in another question there, running out of time. Thank you both gentlemen, Praful Ketkar, Krishna Das, for joining us, taking these deliberations forward. Appreciate your joining us this evening. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Great Indian Election. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, Instagram. Good night, stay safe, take care.